Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jennie Montgomery. Thank you for joining me for this special live Jennie show. And this is indeed a special show. We are celebrating a big personality here at Television Park this week as he steps into retirement and welcoming a very important new member to our team. Our beloved George Myers is wrapping up his 35-year career at WJBF TV this week. He is like the River Region's favorite uncle, isn't he? I started working with George in 1995. Then Brad joined us in '98, and our stories from many years of your hometown tours, like this one in Lincolnton, I believe, where they gave us these overalls, to behind-the-scenes stories of the hilarious things you didn't see in the newscasts are countless. We could amuse ourselves for hours, like looking at old ad campaigns here, because we had the privilege of knowing George said it would off camera. We had the privilege of being in each other's lives day in and day out for more than 22 years, of being a strong team on air who cared about each other off air. And every team has that reliable QB. Ours has undoubtedly been the very likable and trustworthy George Myers. It's been an honor to work by your side, sir. We have much more coming up about George Myers, but before we get to all that, I want you to meet our new chief meteorologist, Tim Miller. Tim is coming to us from Columbia, South Carolina, 8 years as the morning meteorologist at WIS TV and more than 20 years in the Midlands market. And the award-winning Tim is joining me now in the studio. Good afternoon, Tim. You are not a stranger to our area. You live in Saluda County, don't you?
I do. I live in Saluda County, just right down the road, right there on Baseburg, Leesville, sort of near Ridge Springs. Absolutely. So yeah, it's like living at home.
Yeah.
No difference.
So the biggest difference for you is going to be changing your alarm clock, because we're going to be bringing you to the dark side. You're going to join the night side.
Let me tell you, I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited about so many things, not only joining you all and being here, but the fact that I don't have to wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all, let me tell you, that's going to be such a change. You do the mornings and people think, well, you just sort of waltz in like around 4 o'clock, and when you tell them that you wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, they're like, they just can't believe it.
Right, because those maps just don't magically happen. You have to build your maps.
I wish, I wish they would. And I know George knows this as well. Yeah, when we doing a forecast, you have to, all the graphics we put together, like all the numbers and the maps and the lows and all the stuff, all that's, that we have to do. But I can't tell you though how many times I've, come in the morning and oftentimes you're tired, and the first graphic, instead of the high being 85, I'll put a 0 at the end of it, so the high is 850.
Oh, yeah.
So then you have to go back and it's really going to be hot today.
Yeah, we love that. We love those weather bloopers. Those are so much fun.
Yeah,
well,
true.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. You're married. Do you have kids?
Married, I do. I have I have 2 stepdaughters and a daughter that lives in Florida who's married. I have 3 cats. And if you would like one, just let me know here at the station. I'd be more than happy to arrange that. I'm just a simple guy. I love weather, of course. That's been my passion since I was a child. I mean, I'm like so many people. When there's a storm, I mean, I'm out all hours of the day. Doesn't matter whether I wake up in the middle of the night and have to go out and see it.
Yeah.
So and I've been in Columbia for about 26 years.
Well, and Tim, I know that what's really important to you is that you realize that you are providing a public service. You're saving lives. You have the potential to save lives with your weather forecasting.
Jenny, we really are. During the flood in 2015, that as you know, in Columbia received 20 inches of rain, and forecasted that actually happening. And to see that happen right before your very eyes, and to see what it does to the community which you live, and the people and the places you visit every day, and then you see that destroyed. I mean, it's gut-wrenching. And the fact that you let people know well ahead of time before something like this would happen, and then you forecast it, and you save lives. You realize, if not for the advent of weather forecasting, meteorology, for us to be able to detect these things before they happen, the loss of life with weather would be great. And over the years before the advent of modern meteorology, that was the case. So yeah, it's really something. it's an honor to be able to be in someone's home every day and they trust you like George.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's really interesting talking about the event in 2015. Here, we had the flooding on our river, especially on the Savannah, and so many people went to the river, and you could see the flooding in the river walk, and the whole lower part was closed, and the Jesse Norman Amphitheater, you know, you couldn't see the lower levels of the bleachers, and that was also interesting, the parking lots that were flooded. But to think just an hour up I-20, what was happening in Columbia, it was unbelievable.
It really is.
What happened so close to us that was so devastating in Columbia.
Right, and we often, I've had so many folks say, well, you know, you're Augusta, it's the same weather as Columbia, and you know, it's similar, but it's very different.
Yeah.
You know, here in Augusta, in the CSRA, you know, we're about 200 feet lower in sea level than Columbia, and we're certainly a lot lower than we are in Atlanta. And that has a lot to do with it, the topography of the land for sure, and just, believe it or not, we're closer to the Gulf of Mexico. So even by 70 to 100 miles difference between, you know, Augusta and Columbia, there is some significant weather differences here. So absolutely.
It makes a difference. It's always interesting to watch when we look at those maps and see what happens. Well, Tim, we are excited to have you join our team, and I'm so happy that I got to help introduce you to our WJBF viewers. We are a wonderful family here, and we look forward to bringing you on board. Tim Miller. I
cannot tell you how excited I am and what an honor it is to be a part where George Myers has been. You know, he is so loved in the community, right? But he's just as loved, Jenny, in the weather community with fellow meteorologists. He's so well respected, and this is quite humbling and quite an honor, I can tell you.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Thank you.
All right. Well, up next on Jenny, weather forecasting, as we've been saying, is serious business, and some of our viewers get annoyed when programming is preempted, but they know that it can make a difference. Meet one woman who says she knows firsthand how important those weather warnings are. Don't go away. It was a terrifying time to watch weather reports, a hurricane churning in the Atlantic, and an elderly relative on Tybee Island. Jana Lacey picks up the story watching George Myers and the News Channel 6 weather team.
In 2016, we had a very active hurricane season. At the end of September, a storm came through, and it was possibly going to brush Savannah. And my mother-in-law, her home is on Tybee Island, and 2 weeks prior, she wouldn't budge. But Hurricane Matthew, George and his team were so diligent, and they were just so on top of it. And there was just something about the way that he was talking to his viewers that I am trying to take care of you. And in that moment, I just knew that he was telling me, you know, you need to act now. My mother-in-law had Alzheimer's, and she did have a caregiver, but we were able to go down on Tuesday. We were able to get her and bring her home to us, and he was exactly right. George said it was coming, and it did. It hit Tybee, and her home was totally destroyed. When we went back, we saw cinder blocks had fallen in her bed. Had she not come with us, had she refused, as she had many times before, oh, I'll be fine, I'll just sleep through it. Had she not come with us, she wouldn't have survived. And we had the blessing of, she lived with us for 3 months after that. And I always credit him with giving us that gift. And I just, you know, words just really are inadequate to thank him for, you know, he's an unsung hero. And the whole team, you know, John Lennon, you know, the other young men that are coming behind him, it is a very important task. And it, you know, it's more than you need your umbrella today. He actually, I do believe with all my heart, he saved a life. And thank you, George Myers. You'll never know what you mean to my family.
George, I just want to say happy retirement. You were a true leader to me. You're a great chief meteorologist, a great role model. Really helped me out a lot. I remember back when I was in Augusta, and that story when I went to the Masters and got that branch on my eye, and you were having a kick and a laugh out of that. I also remember almost dropping your cake on your 30th anniversary. So the best wishes to you, good friend.
It was such an honor to work with you, even if only for a couple of years. They were by far two of the best years of my life. I just loved being a part of your weather team. You were such a great leader. I learned so much about what it looks like to practice servant leadership.
I've been asked what's it like to work for George as he's leaving, and the best thing I can always say is it's like working for Mr. Rogers, maybe minus the sweater. He's as nice, as friendly, as kind as you've ever expected him to be, and it's been an absolute pleasure to work with George. But the best things, the things are you at home don't know about, like how George pranks people who call like with sales calls, and he'll pretend to be other people and keep them on the line. And I remember just times where like Katie and I sitting in the weather office just dying laughing for 20 straight minutes because George has someone just going and going on a sales call. It's so funny. But working with George has been great. He's been a friend to me, and I look forward to being his friend for many years to come. But losing out on a boss like him is a tough thing for me, but so happy for him as he goes off into retirement. And last thing, if you're wondering why I'm in the sports office, is because, George, you're in the weather office right now, and this is supposed to be a surprise.
Next on Jenny, from news producers to former anchors to U.S. congressmen, the list goes on and on. Let's just say the community says goodbye to our longtime chief meteorologist, George Myers.
George Myers, Augusta's hometown meteorologist, we salute you.
Hey George, Congressman JODICE here. There's no way I could pass up this opportunity to personally say congratulations to you on your retirement and for an incredible job that you've done. No doubt Television Park will never be the same without you. I mean, how do you replace 36 years of commitment to one community? And all the viewers in the CSRA will deeply miss you. You've been a ray of sunshine to every one of them for a long time. And so on behalf of everyone in the 10th District of Georgia, thank you. You have been an incredible leader and a faithful individual that we all consider a friend.
Well, George, I can't believe it's been 30 years. Of course, we're all getting a little older, but gosh, you're retiring. I know that that's a difficult decision to do that, but boy, have you been a great asset to our community. You know, the weather is one thing that certainly in the construction business I watched every day, and I always depended on your forecast. Thank you so much for your service to our community, and I wish you well in retirement.
Well, George, let me say this as somebody who has been there, who has left television: don't run for mayor. Enjoy your retirement. Enjoy every day of it. Stay active, keep your mind busy, but most of all, do everything you can to cherish those great memories from working all those decades at Channel 6. You'll come to appreciate that in some of your times in your retirement. Just enjoy life. We've enjoyed having you and knowing you. And I don't think there's any question that George Myers is a good man. He's just a great family man. He's a professional broadcaster. He's somebody who you would want to come to know, somebody you'd like to have in your home for dinner one night. He's going to be missed, no doubt about it.
So the last gentleman in that video you just saw was Bob Young, who worked with George for a number of years at WJBF News Channel 6. Bob was my first co-anchor when I joined the news team in the mid-90s. My children were babies then, and I have some treasured videos of them with Bob and George, who were the rock stars of local TV at the time. And George is still a rock star around here.
I understand why George wants to leave, and he's committed so much of his time to us in the CSRA. He deserves this, but it's hard to not want to see him go. I mean, George is such a sweet guy. He is the newsroom, so it's pretty sad.
So willing to help out and always has a smile on his face. Those are the things that are really going to be sorely missed around here, is his positivity and just overall great nature.
I'm going to be a little sad not to see him around the station anymore, but happy for him because he's earned it. We nominated him to be Employee of the Year 2 years ago, and everyone in the entire station was completely on board. Nobody even suggested like anybody else, and yet George was so mind blown, was so touched that everybody nominated him. And to me, that's just really indicative of how George is and who he is. Like, he's so humble and he's so kind and he's so down to earth, and everybody loves him for it because he's such a solidly good person.
I grew up watching George. I'm from Augusta, and when I first started working here at WJBF and got to actually have a conversation with him, it was one of those things where, you know, I wasn't sure how it was going to be, but I mean, he's just like he is on television. He's the nicest guy.
I just want him to enjoy his family, enjoy his retirement, and I wish him the very best.
Enjoy every moment. We'll miss you. We love you. We appreciate all that you've done. We can't express that enough. But enjoy your time and live each day.
Still ahead on Jennie, they are very dear to me, and they've known George their whole lives. My grown children sent their goodbye messages to the show. You'll see them after the break.
Hey, it's Cash, Jennie, and Dub from the Kicks Wake Up crew here at Kicks 99.
Congratulations on your retirement, George Myers. You're going to be so missed in the CSRA.
I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, literally, George Myers has been the weatherman on Channel 6 my whole life. I feel bad I never got a George Said It Would umbrella.
Oh no!
George, I need one. Come on, man.
Congratulations, George, from all of us here at the Kicks Wake Up crew.
Hey, George. Even though we are so sad to see you go, we are so excited for this next chapter of yours.
What most people might not know is that you were our favorite babysitter.
We were oftentimes kicked out of Mom's workspace, out of the newsroom, because we were 3 very annoying kids. So she would send us down to the break room in the old building to get out of everybody's hair. But we would always detour and go in the studio to see you.
We'd play monkey in the middle with toilet paper. We're not wasting that. And we would make natural disaster maps on your professional equipment.
We ultimately kept you from doing your job.
Yeah. But it's been so great to witness one of the longest running news teams ever? Maybe
ever. So thank you for all of the sweet memories, all the joy that you brought into our lives. You've done a lot for us, and you've probably never known that.
It is absolutely the end of an era. You, my mom, and Brad were the team, the dream team. And I wanted to say thank you for all the time you spent with us as kids, with me as a kid, tossing a paper ball back and forth across the station, making volcanoes and tornadoes, you know, devastate poor lands across, you know, Augusta. I don't know. Thank you for everything, and best of luck to you, man.
We're gonna miss you, George. Best of luck. We love you.
Bye.
And now for the hard part. How to say goodbye to a friend and colleague who seems like the glue around here. Before the pandemic, Brad, George, and I had talked about doing a show together where we would recall fun memories from back in the day, but we just can't gather that way now. So, George, Brad and I taped our goodbyes to you separately, and we want you to know that as our 22-year run together comes to an end, it's been the best, and we wish you all the best.
Hey George, I'm so happy that you're retiring. And that's hard to say because I don't want to let you go. But I also know the work that you've put in before 2019, and then I saw what 2019 dealt you, and you need to go be with your wife and your beautiful family and just enjoy some peace. I think that God puts people in our paths, and He puts you in mine. You have been such a force, and I will never forget you, and I will thank God for you every day because you have made my life better. So go enjoy your retirement and your beautiful family and your grandchildren, and know that you have made this entire News Channel 6 existence worth it.
George, I just want to thank you for the inspiration and the role model that you have been to me. The way you conduct yourself in the community and the respect that people have for you in this community is what I hope that they have for me. You are the person that I looked to as that professional. That was what I wanted to be. I'm not, my face isn't on an umbrella, but I want to carry myself in the community as if I were on an umbrella. I love you. I'm going to miss you so much, but I also know that you have a very strong faith, and I know that God has very big plans for you, and all you are doing is continuing your journey, and I'm interested to see where this journey leads you next. You've had so many different life experiences that have prepared you for other opportunities, and you are someone who is so credible. You are such an effective communicator, and I believe that God uses us for the good, and I believe that you are not at all through in making an impact on people far beyond your close circle of friends. You have a great impact and a great reach, and you are an awesome human being, and it has been a pleasure to work alongside you. I love you.